Sometimes a single memory refuses to stay quiet, no matter how many years pass. This is one of those memories, the kind that follows me like a shadow and asks to be told. I ask you, before you continue reading, to pause for a moment and feel this story with your heart. If this reaches you, please comment where you are watching or reading from so we can connect as one family and continue to pray for one another. Now, let me begin. Before the war touched my land, my life followed a path that felt already written for me. I was born into a Muslim family in a small town where everyone knew everyone else. The call to prayer shaped our days, our weeks, and even our thoughts. Faith was not something we discussed, it was something we inherited, like our last name or the color of our skin. I woke up each morning to the sound of roosters and distant voices from the mosque. My mother moved quietly through our small home, preparing food with care. My father left early, his face serious but calm, carrying the weight of providing for us. I went to school with other boys who dressed like me, spoke like me, and believed exactly as I did. At least that was what I thought. As a child, I learned that questions were dangerous things. I learned that obedience meant safety and silence meant peace. Religious lessons were strict and clear. Teachers showed me what was allowed and what was forbidden. They revealed to me stories meant to build fear of disobedience and pride in belonging. I listened carefully, because listening kept me out of trouble. Yet even then, something inside me felt heavy, though I could not name it. I prayed because I was told to pray. I fasted because everyone else fasted. I bowed, stood, and recited, but my heart often felt far away. I believed God was powerful, but also distant. I believed mistakes were punished quickly and harshly. Love felt conditional, earned only by perfection. At home, religion controlled every part of life. My mother reminded me of rules constantly. My father corrected even small errors with anger, believing discipline was love. I saw kindness in them, but it was wrapped tightly in fear. Fear of God, fear of shame, fear of community judgment. The community watched closely. Neighbors noticed who prayed on time and who did not. Elders discussed families quietly, praising some and warning others. A single rumor could damage a family's name forever. I understood early that survival depended on blending in. The war had not yet started, but tension lived in the air like thick dust. Adults spoke in low voices. Radios carried troubling news. Sometimes people disappeared, and no one explained why. When I asked questions, I was told to focus on my studies and faith. I was told everything would be fine if we stayed loyal. School was both a refuge and a prison. I enjoyed learning to read and write. Books allowed my mind to travel beyond our town. But religious lessons were harsh. Teachers used stories of punishment to shape obedience. They showed me how leaving the faith was worse than death. They revealed to me how converts were rejected, beaten, or killed to protect honor. These lessons planted deep fear inside me. Even as a teenager, I could feel my chest tighten when the topic of other religions appeared. Christianity, especially, was spoken of with anger and disgust. Christians were described as enemies, liars, and weak people who followed a false path. I accepted this because acceptance kept me safe. At home, any sign of curiosity outside Islam was treated as rebellion. I once showed interest in a story from another culture, and my father responded with harsh punishment. That day taught me a lesson I never forgot. Curiosity could cost me love. Despite this, I noticed something strange. During times of sadness or fear, religious practices brought me no comfort. When I felt pain, I felt alone. When I made mistakes, I felt crushed by guilt. God felt more like a judge than a father. Still, I did not know another way. Everything changed slowly, not with a loud sound, but with small cracks. The war did not arrive all at once. First came soldiers passing through. Then came nights without electricity. Then came fear. Schools closed. Food became scarce. People argued more. Trust disappeared. One evening, violence erupted nearby. I saw flames in the distance and heard screams carried by the wind. My parents pulled me close, fear clear on their faces. That night, I realized something important. Faith that promised protection did not stop the suffering around us. As the war grew closer, religious pressure increased. Leaders reminded us that loyalty was more important than life. They revealed to us that anyone who questioned or doubted was a traitor. Fear was now mixed with anger. This was the world that shaped me before everything collapsed. I did not yet know that becoming a refugee would break my life into pieces. I did not yet know that questioning would turn into searching. I did not yet know that choosing a different faith would bring persecution I never imagined. But the seeds were already planted. Even before the war destroyed my home, something inside me was already crying for a love that did not punish, a God who did not threaten, and a faith that did not require fear to survive. That longing, though quiet, would soon cost me everything. The day the war reached my street, my childhood ended without warning. Fear did not knock first. It broke the door and walked straight into my life. Before that day, danger always felt far away. Then one morning, loud sounds shook the ground under my feet. I felt the walls tremble. Dust fell from the ceiling. My heart began to race, even before I understood what was happening. I ran outside and saw people running in every direction. Some carried children. Some carried bags. Some carried nothing but fear. Smoke rose into the sky like a dark cloud that refused to move. Soldiers moved through the town with anger on their faces. They searched homes and shouted orders. I did not need anyone to explain to me that life had changed. My parents rushed us back inside. My mother's hands shook as she packed what she could. My father's face was tight and hard. He showed me with his actions that silence was now safety. We stayed hidden for hours, listening to explosions and screams. Each sound felt closer than the last. That night, we did not sleep. I sat in a corner, hugging my knees. I watched my parents whisper to each other. Their fear spoke louder than any words. I realized for the first time that adults could be powerless. Within days, our town became unsafe. Neighbors disappeared. Some houses were burned. Others were taken over by armed men. People accused each other of betrayal. Faith, which once united us, now became a weapon. Religious leaders revealed that loyalty must be proven, especially during war. My family decided we had to flee. Leaving felt like tearing my heart out. I looked back at our home, knowing I might never see it again. I carried only a small bag, but inside me was heavy pain. The journey was long and cruel. We walked for hours under the sun. Sometimes we hid in bushes. Sometimes we slept on bare ground. Hunger became normal. Fear became constant. I watched children cry until they had no strength left. I watched parents break down quietly so their children would not see. As refugees, we were no longer seen as people. We were treated like problems. Guards pushed us aside. Aid was scarce. Kindness was rare. At checkpoints, soldiers searched us roughly. They treated us with suspicion and anger. I felt small and unwanted. Religious pressure followed us everywhere. In the camps, leaders watched closely. They observed who prayed, who fasted, and who obeyed. Fear ruled the tents. Anyone who appeared weak or different was questioned. I learned to hide my emotions. I learned to survive by blending in. One day, during food distribution, I saw a man beaten badly. People around whispered that he was suspected of listening to Christian teachings. The guards dragged him away. Blood stained the ground where he stood. No one helped him. Fear sealed everyone's mouths. That image burned into my mind. Later, others revealed to me stories of people punished for doubting. Some were locked up. Some were starved. Some were never seen again. I understood clearly that leaving Islam was not just forbidden, it was dangerous. It meant pain, rejection, and sometimes death. Inside the camp, insults became normal. People accused others of being unfaithful to God if they asked questions or showed kindness to the wrong people. I saw children my age beaten for small mistakes. I saw women humiliated publicly. Violence was used as a lesson. During this time, my heart began to break in a new way. I prayed harder than ever, but peace never came. Fear only grew stronger. I felt trapped between bombs outside and punishment inside. I felt like God was far away, watching but silent. One evening, while resting near a medical tent, I noticed something different. Volunteers treated people gently. They cleaned wounds carefully. They fed the hungry without asking questions. One woman showed me kindness without fear. She revealed care through her actions, not threats. I did not know her faith yet, but I felt something warm for the first time in months. Later, I learned quietly that these helpers were Christians. This knowledge terrified me. Being seen near them could bring punishment. Even curiosity was dangerous. Still, I could not forget the way they treated people with dignity. As days passed, rumors spread. Camp leaders warned against foreign beliefs. They revealed that anyone who followed another faith would face severe consequences. Fear tightened around my chest. I knew the risk, yet my heart kept remembering the kindness I had seen. The persecution was not always loud. Sometimes it was slow and cruel. Food withheld, medical help delayed, beatings done at night, families torn apart. Faith became a reason to suffer. I was still just a boy, but war forced me to grow fast. I learned that choosing love over fear could cost everything. I learned that questions could lead to pain. I learned that being different could make you a target. And yet, in the middle of war, hunger, and persecution, something inside me began to wake up. I did not yet know that this quiet change would soon turn into open rejection, violence, and loss. I did not yet know that my decision would bring suffering for my own people. But the war had already taken my home. Soon, my choice would take everything else. There are moments when the heart begins to ask questions. The mouth is too afraid to speak. This was the season when my silence became heavier than my fear. By this time, the war had changed everything around me, but something deeper was changing inside me. I was still living in the refugee camp. The smell of dust, sweat, and fear never left the air. Every morning felt the same, yet my heart felt more restless each day. I noticed that my prayers no longer brought comfort. I still followed the routine because it kept me safe, but inside I felt empty. I watched people hurt others in the name of faith. I saw cruelty wrapped in religion. This confusion stayed with me, even when I tried to push it away. At the same time, I kept remembering the helpers from the medical tents. I remembered how they treated people gently. I remembered how they cared for the wounded without fear or anger. No one shouted at the weak. No one threatened punishment. Their actions spoke louder than any lesson I had ever learned. One day I was injured while fetching water. I fell and cut my leg badly. I tried to hide the pain, but blood soaked through my clothes. Someone led me quietly to the medical area. A volunteer cleaned my wound carefully. She showed patience through her actions. She revealed care without judgment. I felt human again. Later, I noticed a small book hidden inside her bag. I did not touch it, but I knew what it was. Fear rushed through me. Being curious alone could destroy my life. Still, something inside me felt drawn, not to the book, but to the peace I saw in her eyes. Over time, I observed more. I noticed that these helpers prayed differently. They served even when insulted. They stayed calm when threatened. People mocked them, yet they did not respond with anger. This confused me deeply. Quietly, others revealed to me stories about Jesus. They did not force me. They showed me kindness and patience. They revealed a God who loved first, not a God who waited to punish. These ideas scared me, but they also gave me hope. I kept these thoughts hidden. In the camp, secrecy was survival. Leaders watched closely. Anyone suspected of interest in Christianity was questioned harshly. I saw a boy beaten after being accused of attending a secret teaching. His cries stayed with me long after the beating stopped. At home, my family noticed changes in me. I became quieter. I avoided religious discussions. My father's eyes followed me closely. My mother prayed more, as if fear could be chased away by routine. Tension filled our small shelter. One evening, my father searched my belongings. He found nothing, but suspicion remained. He revealed his anger through his actions. I was punished for being distant. I learned that even thoughts could be dangerous. Soon, rumors spread about secret converts in the camp. Religious leaders gathered people and warned them. They revealed that leaving Islam was betrayal. They showed examples of punishment to create fear. I watched people tremble. I watched families turn against each other. Despite this, my heart could not return to its old place. I began to believe quietly. I did not announce it. I did not celebrate it. I simply felt drawn to a faith built on love, forgiveness, and sacrifice. This decision happened silently, but its cost came loudly. Someone reported me. One night, men came to our shelter. They dragged me outside. People watched but did nothing. Fear glued them in place. I was accused of following another faith. I was slapped, kicked, and insulted. They called me shameful. They said I had dishonored my family. They locked me in a small dark space for days. Hunger burned my stomach. Thirst dried my mouth. I was beaten repeatedly. Each blow was meant to force me back. Pain became my teacher. Fear became my shadow. During this time, my family rejected me. My father refused to look at me. My mother cried but stayed silent. Relatives cut ties. I was treated like I no longer belonged. Loneliness hurt more than the blows. When I was released, I was warned through actions and threats. I was watched closely. Food was taken from me. Help was denied. Children my age avoided me. Adults whispered when I passed. I was alive, but I was no longer living. Yet, even then, I felt something new. Peace did not leave me. Fear was still there, but hope stood beside it. I felt closer to God than ever before, not because I was strong, but because I was broken. Persecution became my daily life. Insults, hunger, beatings, rejection, loss of family, loss of safety, loss of childhood. But I had gained something no one could take. I had found love in the middle of hatred, and soon that love would be tested even more. Some choices save the soul but place the body in danger. This was the chapter where my faith stopped being hidden and my life stopped being safe. By this time, everyone in the camp knew my name, but not in a good way. I was no longer just a refugee boy. I was now seen as a traitor, a shame, and a problem that needed to be corrected. Fear followed me like a shadow that never left. Every day felt heavier than the one before. People avoided sitting near me. When food was shared, my portion was smaller or missing. When water was given, I was pushed aside. These were quiet punishments, but they hurt deeply. Hunger weakened my body. Rejection weakened my heart. Religious leaders kept watch on me. Their eyes followed my movements. They revealed their hatred through silence and sudden actions. Sometimes men blocked my path and shoved me aside. Sometimes they spat near my feet. They wanted me to feel small and broken. At night, fear grew stronger. I slept lightly, always ready to run. I heard stories of converts taken away in the dark. Some were beaten until they agreed to return. Others disappeared forever. These stories were not rumors to scare children. They were real, and they were close. One evening, a group of men came for me again. They pulled me from where I was resting. My body was already weak, but they did not care. They hit me with sticks and fists. Each blow carried anger and hate. They revealed their belief that pain could erase faith. They tied my hands and kept me outside in the cold night. Insects bit my skin. My wounds burned. I was mocked and insulted. They showed me that mercy had no place here. They wanted me to beg. They wanted me to deny what I believed. I did not speak much. My body shook, but my heart stayed firm. I remembered the kindness I had seen. I remembered the love that did not ask me to earn it. That memory gave me strength when my body had none. Later, they dragged me to my family. My father stood far from me. He refused to come closer. His face held anger, shame, and pain. He revealed through his actions that I was no longer his son. My mother cried quietly, but did nothing. Fear had stolen her voice. They told my family to choose between me and their honor. My family chose honor. That moment broke something inside me. I felt like I had died while still breathing. After that day, I was no longer allowed inside our shelter. I slept near the edge of the camp. Cold nights and hot days became normal. My wounds were untreated. My stomach stayed empty. Children threw stones at me. Adults cursed me. I was treated like dirt. Still, I was not alone. The Christian helpers noticed my condition. They could not help openly, but they helped quietly. Someone left food near where I slept. Someone cleaned my wounds secretly. Someone showed me care through actions, not words. This kindness saved my life. One night, someone warned me that my life was in danger. They revealed that a final punishment was being planned. I understood what that meant. Staying would mean death. With help, I escaped the camp before sunrise. My legs were weak, but fear pushed me forward. I hid in bushes. I crawled through dirt. Every sound made my heart jump. I did not look back, because looking back might stop me. The journey was painful and long. Hunger followed me. Pain followed me. Loneliness followed me. But hope walked beside me. I crossed borders in fear. I hid my identity. I survived by mercy. I lost my family, my home, my name, and my safety. But I kept my faith. Persecution had taken everything from me, yet it could not take what was planted in my heart. I was just a boy, but I had paid a heavy price for love. And though my body was broken and my past was gone, a new life was beginning. One built not on fear, but on grace. I survived what was meant to destroy me, and that is why this chapter must be told. What I lost was great, but what I gained became my reason to live. After I escaped from the camp, my life became a long road filled with fear and hope, walking side by side. I moved from place to place, never staying too long. I hid my past because my past could get me killed. I hid my face, my name, and sometimes even my pain. My body was weak, old wounds reopened. Hunger stayed with me like an old enemy. Some nights I slept under open skies. Other nights I hid in abandoned buildings. Rain soaked my clothes, cold cut into my skin. I was still just a boy, but life showed me no mercy. People I met along the way treated me differently once they learned my story. Some avoided me out of fear. Some looked at me with suspicion. Others showed me quiet kindness. A few believers helped me without asking questions. They revealed love through food, shelter, and care. They showed me that family is not only by blood. Even in safe places, persecution followed me. I was threatened when others discovered my faith. I was chased away from shelters. I was denied work and help. I learned that choosing Christ did not end suffering. It only changed the reason for it. Sometimes memories returned at night. I remembered the beatings. I remembered being tied in the cold. I remembered my father turning away from me. Those memories hurt deeply. I cried silently so no one would hear. I asked God why love had such a high price. Healing did not come quickly. Fear stayed in my chest. Loud sounds made me jump. Angry voices made my heart race. I carried scars on my body and inside my soul. But slowly, peace began to grow. Not because life became easy, but because I was no longer alone. I joined a small group of believers who met quietly. We shared food, we prayed silently, we supported one another. Each person carried pain, but also faith. Their stories reminded me that persecution was not my shame, it was my testimony. I learned to forgive even when it hurt. I learned to love people who hated me. I learned that Christ also suffered, was rejected, beaten, and abandoned. This truth helped me breathe again. My pain finally made sense. Today I still live carefully. I still hide my identity in some places. I still know danger, but I also know hope. I wake up knowing my life has purpose. I know my story can give strength to others who are suffering in silence. I share this testimony not to gain attention, but to reveal the cost of faith in many parts of the world. Many believers are beaten. Many are imprisoned. Many are rejected by their families. Some do not survive. Their voices are often unheard. If you are reading this, I ask you to remember them. Please pray for Christians who are persecuted every day for their faith. Pray for children who are beaten for believing. Pray for parents who are rejected by their families. Pray for those hiding, running, and suffering right now. And if your heart feels touched and you desire to turn away from sin and follow Christ, you can do so even now. You can come to God with a humble heart. You can acknowledge your need for forgiveness. You can believe that Jesus gave his life for you. You can ask him to lead your life and make you new. This step does not remove all trouble, but it gives eternal hope. My life is proof that faith can survive fire. I lost my home, I lost my family, I lost my safety, but I gained a love that persecution could not kill. And that is why I am still standing.